Sorry about that. Welcome to Post-Match Reaction, brought to you by DrivingMaul, to the Argentina versus Wales June international game. And the game finished Argentina 10, Wales 23. A good win for the men in red. And it didn't look like it was going to start out that way, to be honest. Oh, dear me, sorry about this. Pick and goes by Argentina got themselves a penalty, and straight away, on just 1 minute in, they took a 3-0 lead in this game. Problem was they weren't going to score another point until the 77th minute of the game, and that obviously big gap between scoring was obviously the problem. Early on, it looked like the Argentinian defence was going to get up in their faces. Gareth Davies got hit trying to run across the line at least once early on, and you thought, okay, yes, there's a message to the Welsh: you're not going to get any time on the ball. But in that first half, Wales were happy to kick the ball, and Argentina were happy to go through the phases. A lot of pick and goes, playing very narrow, letting their forwards do the hard work. But at the same time, and if we have a quick look at some of the, actually Fuente actually got through 18 runs, so it's a bit of a surprise. And Creevy with 12 runs, Kramer had 16, Lavanini with 10, and there's a lot of runs done by the forwards, and then Fuente with 18 shows you that actually quite often the ball only got out one place beyond the fly half straight to the centre. Orlando got through quite a few runs as well, as they alternated quite a bit. So there was it was pretty the problem really was that it was too one-dimensional, the attack. We only had one row of attack. We didn't have the second line, or the ball going out the back, or any of the kind of deception, and that meant that we had a lot of runs not really going anywhere. 156 runs in all for 364 metres. Sorry, compare that to Wales, only 77 runs, so half as many runs, but 300 metres with ball in hand, just as many, or nearly as many metres for half the runs. To show you that a lot of those runs by Argentina were just pick and goes. They made about 40 passes more than runs. Same with Wales, made about 40 passes more than runs, which shows that Wales played a lot more expansive game than Argentina. And because it was the one-dimensional, it meant that all the Welsh had to do, and I'm saying all as in though it's easy, was to make sure they got their first up tackles right. And that's exactly what they did. 93% tackling in this game. So they put in a big shift. They made a lot of tackles. They had to make 189 tackles in this game, but they made 175 of them. So what that meant was that they restricted Argentina to just 2 clean line breaks all game, or 2 clean breaks all game. And then if you're going to bashing up like that, you are going to eventually knock it on. We had Wales got about 7 scrums this game. So we had quite a lot of scrums. Quite a lot of knock-ons, and of course not every knock-on goes to a scrum. Obviously from the turnover and they get advantage, they play advantage. So there were a lot of, and that's basically how the first half panned out. Argentina spent most of the time in the Welsh half doing that, and Wales got 2 opportunities really, and they played some lovely expansive play in that first 10 minutes. On 8 minutes, it led to a try, and whilst they were playing, they were showing good hands, they were playing width, they were getting the ball fast. It still took a wonderful offload out wide to put Davies over in the corner and give them their first try. Great kick by Patchell as well, got the points, put them 3-7 up. Then on 27 minutes, again, they were between that, Argentina had a try disallowed for being held up. To me, it looked like he got it down, but as I say, couldn't see a clear grounding, and therefore had to say no conclusive clear grounding. I can't give the try. If Argentina had got that score in 20 minutes, this might have been a bit of a different game. But Wales managed to hold them out, turn over the ball, go down the pitch, got themselves a line out. Argentina didn't have a guard at the back. Gareth Davis spotted this, and with his pace was straight through that gap, offloaded or fed George North, and it was and Wales had their second try. So 2 attacking opportunities and 14 points on the board. Wales were very clinical, but they did spend that whole game under. So they had been under the cosh that whole half, and so again on 36 minutes when they got another opportunity of a long range penalty, they took the points again to lead 3-17 at the half. Not only were Argentina just doing this one up, but the other big thing here was Wales managed to slow down the ball at the breakdown. Wales have got a host of good back row players, and you've got to say that the two Davies on the flanks and Ross Moriarty both put in a good work, put in a good big shifts, and managed to slow that ball down tremendously. The Davies got 11, 17 and 22 tackles amongst those guys. Add in that another 16 from A. Beard and Evans. The prop got through 11. There was a lot of work done by that forward pack to make this victory happen. Scott Williams also in the centres got through 13 tackles as well. So yeah, across the park there was a lot of work put in by Wales on that tackling side, but not only did they manage to get their tackles, but they also managed to slow that ball down, which made it very difficult for Argentina. Come the second half, and while the stats say that Wales ended up having the same amount of possession and territory as they had in the first half, in that first 10 minutes they took the pressure off themselves by not kicking the ball. And by stopping kicking the ball, what that meant was they got possession. They got a bit of a rest really on that tackling, and meant that they got through and also managed to kick over a penalty, a penalty, just to stretch their lead. Scoreboard pressure really starting to tell on Argentina, and Wales, by keeping hold of that ball and not giving up possession, meant that Argentina quite a couple of times were trying to run the ball out of their own 22, and that's just a recipe for disaster, which is what and this weren't ever going to go length of the pitch. They weren't breaking through. They weren't creating those breaks we talked about, and that's what it is. But that stopping of kicking was a big thing. Bit of a surprise to that Sanchez didn't come out after half time. I'm not sure if he was injured or whatever. We haven't heard any news on that one. The Argentina problem, that one line of attack, no depth to it, not really asking different questions, and Wales just making their tackles. There was a late try disallowed on 74 minutes, but the Argentina player didn't regain his feet after being tackled, and so the try was disallowed. So that's 2 disallowed tries for Argentina in this one. They did manage to bash over after 77 minutes, but it was way too little too late. They really, once the score had gone into 3:20 and they were 17 points behind, they had to get that score before, at least get one score before the last 10 minutes, and they didn't manage to do that, even though they were camping in Wales's half. A couple of comments in the live chat. A little bit concerned about the referee was being born in Wales. Yeah, I didn't think he had a particularly. I think he had an okay game. Perhaps I would have yellow carded Wales in that first half for repeat offences. Apart from that, though, happy with his performance today. He is officially an Irish referee, registered, and we do have this problem of where do people come from. We don't complain about, say, a Fijian player playing for Australia against Fiji, or playing for England against Fiji, or whatever, or a Tongan player playing against England against Tonga. Where are their loyalties? They're going to do their job for their team, and I think we have to be a bit. We can try and get as neutral as possible but we can't over analyse Has someone even been to holiday to Argentina? Does that mean he can't referee there? So we've got to be a bit careful of that. Had a similar problem or similar issue arise in the Sydney Sevens a couple of years ago, where a New Zealand-born referee is registered in Australia, lives in Australia, works, and so is considered an Australian referee, and ended up refereeing the New Zealand final. So we've got to be a bit. I don't think this was. Don't think this was down to the referee by any stretch of the imagination. Some people saying not the best games to watch. Not really. Yes, that's true. We want to see a bit more from Argentina. I say they were a bit too one-dimensional. Wales did exactly what they needed to do. Great defensive effort and clinical when they needed to be. And that's kind of how the game all panned out. Before we go look at some players, quick advert break. Here is my Bottlepops, which have a quick listen.
Always manages to offload in the tackle.
As you can see, it's an All Blacks one, but when you open your bottle of beer or your bottle or any other kind of bottle that's got that sort of top, it gives you a little sound clip as well. So great fun that, and there'll be a link in the comments below how you can buy one of those. It's I'm an affiliate, so I get a little cut if you do buy one. Anyway, going on and looking at the players. Defensively, I've already talked about on the Welsh side the pack put in a big shift. Argentina's tackling was pretty decent as well, but with that extra width, we saw that Orlando and Fuente got through some work. Creevy, as always, big in the tight, as were Lavanini and Metra. Just checking the discipline side of things, no one gave up more than a couple of penalties. Lavanini gave up a couple of penalties, but kept a yellow, but kept out of the yellow card situation that he used to have a problem with. And then on attack, Buffelli, Orlando, Fuente really were the people for Argentina. We hardly got out to the wings at all. They didn't really see much ball in this game. On the Welsh side, for example, they had a lot less territory in possession, but both George North and Adams had as many runs as the opposition wingers, which shows you that they really just did not get wide at all. I mean, no one in the Welsh side got past 10 runs, whereas we have at least 5 players, on the Argentinian side who did. Wales played a much more expansive kind of game. I thought Patchell ran the game pretty well. I mean, both sides had a couple of kicks out in the full, but on the whole, he ran the show well. Gareth Davis had a couple of errors early on, but came through those and had a good game. And obviously the back three, the three Lucies were the ones that really that really kind of had a big game for Wales. So that's how I saw it. It's been a big weekend of rugby action. I've still not watched the South Africa-England game, so I'll be watching that one soon. And depending on what I see, maybe I will do a quick post-match reaction to that one as well. Just from what little snippets I've seen on social media, it wasn't a very positive thing for England, obviously. New Zealand clearly got that win over France with a few, obviously a big refereeing decision being big part of that. What I think we need to do, though, as a rugby community, is to stop trying to take every game down to be about the refs. Yes, he made one error by not going to the TMO for that, and then compounded that by having another head knock that he didn't yellow card, so he wasn't, or leather head high tackle didn't yellow card. But people slowing down and just showing the moment of impact and then saying that this was a deliberate red or whatever, I don't think helps anybody on social about the image or anyone enjoying the game. One of my biggest tweets of the weekend has been asking the Australian commentators during the Australian Ireland game to stop just complaining about the ref all the time. This negativity doesn't help anyone. It's not fun to listen to, and I think we need to try and get away from blaming the ref. Yes, say they made a certain call wasn't right or wrong, well, it wasn't right maybe, but continuously going on about it and saying, oh, I'm over this game because it's gone X, Y, Z, because of the refereeing. I think we need to definitely get away from, and commentators especially need to stop making those sort of comments. So, and one of the things about the Welsh game was that the people definitely, the Argentina and Wales game, people definitely came in to this game gunning for the referee right from the start, and that kind of stuff just does not is not great, and it's something that I hope the game can move away from. Little rants there from me. Thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed this, hit the like button. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Share it with all your friends, all that kind of stuff, and enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.